Chosen one, this message did not find you by chance, and you did not arrive at this moment accidentally. Something inside you has been stirring long before your eyes could confirm it, a quiet but persistent knowing that refused to leave you alone. You may not have had language for it, but your spirit has been alert, attentive, watchful. There has been an internal anticipation building, not driven by desperation, but by certainty. You felt it in moments of stillness, in pauses between thoughts, in the calm after prayer, in the silence where answers usually hide. This was not wishful thinking. This was recognition. You have been sensing that something long awaited was approaching, not rushing, not forcing its way in, but surfacing according to divine timing. And now, that internal sensing is crossing into something observable. What you are experiencing is sacred expectation. The kind that comes only when something has already been approved in the unseen. This isn't hope hanging on a thread. This is alignment catching up to promise. There is a difference between asking and knowing, between pleading and preparing. You have crossed that threshold. The reason this message resonates so deeply is because your spirit already recognizes the moment. You didn't come looking for confirmation. Confirmation came looking for you. The anticipation you've been carrying hasn't been emotional hype. It's been spiritual intelligence responding to movement behind the veil. For a long time, what God was doing in your life stayed internal. The shifts were subtle. The confirmations came quietly. The preparation happened privately. But now the season is changing. What you once sensed spiritually is beginning to surface physically. The anticipation is no longer just internal awareness. It is becoming expectation tied to manifestation. The transition has begun from feeling to seeing, from believing to holding, from trusting to receiving. And yes, what is surfacing now is tangible. It is measurable. It is visible. This is where the message becomes specific. The shift you are sensing is not symbolic. It is not metaphorical. It is not emotional. It is financial. It is structural. It is material. The wealth transfer you have been discerning is approaching visibility. What was once hidden in timing is stepping into clarity. What was once delayed for protection is now advancing for release. A large sum is not only assigned, it is approaching manifestation. You are not imagining this. You are not ahead of God. You are in sync. The reason the anticipation feels different now is because the moment is different. You are no longer sensing potential. You are sensing proximity. The weight of this moment is not pressure, it's readiness. The divine signal you've been receiving is simple. Prepare to receive what you once only trusted for. The transfer is no longer distant. It is almost visible. There are seasons when God keeps blessings concealed, not because they are denied, but because they are premature. Divine concealment is not absence, it is protection. For a long time, what was assigned to you existed behind a veil, inaccessible not due to lack of favor, but due to precision. Heaven does not release weight into hands that are still forming. Timing is not about delay. It is about alignment. And now that veil is thinning. What you are witnessing is the transition point where faith-based believing gives way to physical evidence. This is where the invisible begins to press against the visible world. The reason it feels sudden is because concealment always makes movement appear quiet. God does his deepest work where applause can't interfere. But when the veil thins, what was once hidden starts to show signs. You may notice conversations shifting, systems loosening, resistance weakening, doors that once stayed shut now cracking open without force. This is not coincidence, it is revelation. God hides blessings until the exact moment when release will not damage you. Wealth is not just resource, it is responsibility amplified. If released too early, it exposes immaturity. If released too late, it restricts assignment. The timing had to be exact. Your character, discernment, discipline, and identity needed to match the weight of what was coming. That process could not be rushed. And now, because that alignment has been achieved, concealment is no longer required. This is why the nature of the wealth is changing in your awareness. Before, it felt symbolic, a promise, an idea, a prophetic word. Now it feels concrete, countable, real. The shift is unmistakable. You are no longer speaking in generalities. You are sensing specificity. Numbers, access, movement. This is because the blessing has crossed from spiritual concept into physical preparation. The infrastructure is being assembled. The veil thinning means the unseen approvals are complete. What remains is visibility. And when heaven decides to make something visible, it does so decisively. There is no confusion at that stage. No ambiguity. No wondering if it's real. When this manifests, it will not require faith to believe, only humility to receive. The invisible has done its work. The visible is next. This is not sudden fortune. It is not random gain. And it is certainly not luck. What is approaching your life has been forming for years, often during seasons that felt unproductive, stalled, or unnecessarily difficult. You didn't stumble into this alignment, you were shaped into it. Every delay, every closed door, every opportunity that didn't stick was part of a calibration process you couldn't see at the time. There were seasons when it felt like nothing worked, when momentum died right as it started, when plans fell apart without explanation. But what looked like resistance was actually refinement. God was pruning distractions, separating dependencies, and removing structures that could not support the weight of what was coming. Alignment requires subtraction before multiplication. You had to be disentangled from environments, mindsets, and attachments that would have contaminated the blessing. What you're about to receive had to mature. Wealth that arrives before wisdom becomes a burden. Influence before identity becomes dangerous. God does not release unfinished blessings. He finishes you first. That's why the wait was long. That's why the pressure was intense. That's why shortcuts never worked for you. The system rejected premature access because heaven was guarding the integrity of the release. This alignment required endurance. It required obedience without reward. It required faith without evidence. And most importantly, it required transformation. You are not receiving this because you asked loudly. You are receiving it because you became ready quietly. The wealth has been waiting for you to match it, not the other way around. Nothing about this is accidental. Every year of resistance was building capacity. Every closed door was redirecting you. Every disappointment was disqualifying lesser versions of provision. Now the alignment is complete. And what took years to prepare will move quickly to manifest. What is coming to you is not surface-level money. It is not survival provision. It is not get-by finance. This is vault-level wealth, the kind that changes trajectories, not just circumstances. It carries generational authority. It is designed to interrupt bloodline patterns, not just improve personal comfort. You were born into a lineage that carried stories of limitation, struggle, instability, or quiet endurance. Some of those patterns were normalized. Others were never spoken about, only felt. God did not overlook those cycles, He studied them. And this transfer is not just for you, it is through you. It is calibrated to repair what was broken long before you arrived. This wealth carries historical weight. It addresses debts that were never just financial. It speaks to shame, lack, powerlessness, and survival mentalities passed down unconsciously. When God releases money at this level, it is not about indulgence, it is about recalibration. It redefines what is possible for everyone connected to you. That is why the amount feels large. It has assignment beyond enjoyment. It is meant to reset narratives, establish stability, and create a new reference point for your bloodline. You are not receiving this because you need more. You are receiving this because history needs interruption. This transfer ends cycles quietly but permanently. And once it manifests, nothing downstream remains the same. For a long time, it may have seemed like nothing could stabilize financially in your life. Jobs ended unexpectedly. Contracts dissolved without warning. Partnerships that looked promising collapsed just as momentum started to build. At times, it felt personal. Like rejection, like punishment, like proof that something was wrong with you. But heaven was never correcting you. It was protecting you. What didn't last was not meant to last because the source was compromised, the foundation was unstable, or the timing was wrong. God does not allow contaminated money to remain in the hands of those marked for purity of assignment. There are resources that come with strings, agendas, spiritual residue, or misalignment that would have distorted your future if they had stayed. You were spared from provision that looked helpful, but would have required silence, compromise, or dependency. And because you were chosen for a higher standard of stewardship, God refused to let money attach to you that did not match your destiny. Every opportunity that failed did so quietly but intentionally. You weren't being blocked, you were being filtered. Heaven was screening sources, removing pathways that would have locked you into cycles of striving, survival, or control. That's why you couldn't force things to work, no matter how capable you were. Your effort was never the issue. The source was, there is such a thing as pure wealth provision that carries no spiritual debt, no manipulation, no exhaustion, no soul cost. God does not release large sums to be managed through fear or desperation. The previous streams failed because they were never designed to sustain you. They were placeholders, lessons, or temporary coverings until alignment matured. Now you understand why nothing stuck. It wasn't loss. It was insulation. God was preserving your future from polluted provision so that when real wealth arrived, it could stay, grow, and multiply without resistance. The failures were proof of protection, not evidence of disqualification. This transfer is not general. It is not open access. It is not available to whoever happens to show up. It is frequency locked to identity. Your name, not just the letters, but the essence of who you became, was calibrated into this release. That is why no one else could access it. That is why imitations failed. That is why substitutes couldn't replace you. Heaven operates with spiritual encryption. What is assigned to you responds to your frequency, not your desire. You didn't unlock this by asking repeatedly. You unlocked it by becoming aligned. The transfer recognizes your maturity, your restraint, your growth, your discernment. It is responding to who you are now, not who you were when you first prayed for it. There were moments when it felt like others received what you were believing for more easily. But what they received wasn't what was assigned to you. Your portion required precision. It required integrity. It required depth. That is why it waited. And that is why it could not be intercepted. Your identity became the key. Not your effort. Not your strategy. Not your explanation. Heaven does not release legacy-level wealth based on performance. It releases it based on alignment. You matched the frequency, and now the provision is responding. This is ownership, not permission. What's coming recognizes you as its rightful steward. Before money moves, emotion moves. Before deposits appear, peace settles. That's why you've been feeling lighter without explanation, clearer without proof, calm even when circumstances haven't changed yet. These are not mood swings. These are indicators. God always prepares your internal economy before adjusting your external one. You may have noticed a sudden intolerance for misalignment, conversations that drain you, environments that feel heavy, habits that no longer satisfy. Your discernment has sharpened. Your dreams may have intensified or become more vivid. Your prayer life may feel less desperate and more conversational. These are signs of elevation before manifestation. Energy shifts always precede financial shifts. Heaven adjusts capacity before release. If the money arrived first, it would overwhelm you. So God elevated your emotional regulation, strengthened your boundaries, and stabilized your identity. Now you're ready to receive without losing yourself. You didn't become anxious, you became anchored. That's the sign. The shift is already happening. While you've been sensing movement internally, heaven has been reordering systems externally. Approvals have been signed in realms you can't see yet. Delays have been removed behind the scenes. Permissions that were once withheld are now aligning quietly. God moves digits before deposits. He adjusts timing before transactions. Numbers, access points, people, and processes are being repositioned so the release arrives without resistance. What felt stalled was being synchronized. When it manifests, it will feel sudden, but it wasn't rushed. It was arranged. Long before money reached your hands, abundance had already taken residence in your spirit. You learned how to believe without proof, how to trust without reinforcement, how to remain generous even when resources were limited. This is not accidental. Heaven never funds someone who has not first learned to carry wealth internally. You became wealthy in faith before you ever saw a deposit, and that internal prosperity built the capacity necessary for external overflow. Faith was not just something you practiced, it became your identity. You learned how to think beyond survival, how to envision provision before it arrived, how to speak hope when logic suggested restraint. That belief system was not naive, it was formative. Every time you chose trust over fear, you expanded your internal capacity. Every time you resisted bitterness, envy, or desperation, you widened the container. Money cannot remain where maturity is absent, but it rushes toward readiness. The reason wealth is now accelerating toward you is because it recognizes a vessel prepared to hold it without corruption. You are no longer asking money to validate you. You are inviting it to participate in what is already established. Faith built the foundation. Finance is now following. You didn't wait for money to change your mindset. You let mindset prepare you for money. That is why this transfer will not destabilize you. It will simply meet you where you already are. This transfer is not indulgence-driven. It is assignment-based. God is not funding comfort alone, He is funding purpose. Vision requires provision, and endurance creates permission. You endured seasons where obedience felt unrewarded, where faith demanded consistency without visible return. Those seasons were not wasted. They were qualifying you. This wealth has a calling attached to it. It is meant to activate vision, expand influence, and remove constraints that once limited your reach. You are not being entrusted with this because you desire more. You are being entrusted because you proved faithful with little. You showed restraint when others sought excess. You remained obedient when shortcuts were available. That obedience became currency. Money follows mission. And now that your purpose has matured, the provision is responding. This is not about luxury. It's about leverage. What you're receiving will allow you to move without hesitation, serve without fear, and build without compromise. Endurance unlocked this door. Obedience opened it. And now the funding is catching up. Nothing you gave was forgotten. Nothing you surrendered was overlooked. Every moment you chose faith over fear, generosity over scarcity, prayer over panic, heaven recorded it. You gave while lacking. You trusted while pressured. You prayed through nights where silence was your only response. And though no one applauded, God documented every sacrifice. There were moments when you wondered if it mattered. When your giving felt unseen. When your faith felt unrewarded. But heaven does not forget what the world ignores. The transfer approaching you is not random generosity. It is recorded reward. It is reimbursement for faith sustained under pressure. This is not payment. It is recognition. It is God honoring consistency when circumstances didn't cooperate. The wealth coming to you carries memory. It remembers what you endured. And it is arriving with intention. For a long time, others couldn't see what you were building. Your vision didn't translate. Your faith didn't make sense. Your restraint looked like hesitation. Your patience looked like passivity. And because they couldn't see it, they questioned it. Some distanced themselves. Some dismissed you. Some quietly doubted, but God was not concerned with visibility. He was focused on viability. The separation you experienced was not rejection. It was preparation. Those who couldn't go with you had to step aside. Not because they were wrong, but because they were not aligned. Now the season is shifting. What was invisible is becoming undeniable. Manifestation is validating what explanation never could. You are transitioning from overlooked to overflowing, from misunderstood to manifested. And when the evidence appears, no justification will be necessary. The blessing will speak for itself. There is a moment coming that will leave you still, not because you are confused, but because you are processing reality. When the numbers finally appear, your first reaction will not be excitement. It will be silence. A pause. A breath you didn't realize you were holding. You will look again, not because you don't trust your eyes, but because your spirit is catching up to what your senses are confirming. This is the shock of manifestation. When faith finally meets evidence, you will check the account more than once. Not out of fear that it will disappear, but because your nervous system has been conditioned by delay, not abundance. You are not doubting God, you are recalibrating your sense of normal. For so long, you believed without seeing. Now you are seeing what you believed, and the adjustment takes a moment. Destiny always feels surreal when it first arrives. There will be no announcement. No explanation attached. No justification required. The numbers will simply be there, quietly, firmly, undeniably. This is how heaven confirms alignment. No noise. No chaos. Just reality settling into place. And in that moment, disbelief will not dominate, gratitude will. You won't feel overwhelmed. You'll feel anchored. Because you've already carried this in faith, receiving without apology is part of the lesson. You are not required to minimize the blessing to make others comfortable. You are not obligated to explain how it happened. You don't owe anyone a backstory. What arrives is legitimate, sanctioned, and sealed. The shock will pass. Stability will remain. This wealth did not respond to your hustle. It responded to your healing. You did not grind your way into this season. You didn't force doors open. You didn't manipulate systems. You allowed alignment to replace effort. And that is why peace accompanies the provision. There was a time when striving seemed like the only option, when survival required overexertion. But God redirected you inward before moving you forward. He healed your relationship with lack. He dismantled fear-based ambition. He restored your sense of worth apart from productivity. That healing created capacity. Wealth cannot coexist with chaos. It requires clarity. And healing brought clarity. You learned how to move from rest instead of pressure, from wisdom instead of urgency. That internal shift was the pathway. Peace became proof of readiness. This is why the arrival will not feel frantic. It will feel settled. You are not chasing money, it is meeting you. You healed the parts of you that would have mismanaged it. And now it can stay. When this manifests, you will not feel the urge to compare. Competition dissolves when confirmation arrives. You will not measure your blessing against someone else's timeline. You will not need validation. The evidence will be sufficient. Life will begin to make sense retroactively. Delays will find explanation. Detours will reveal purpose. What once felt like loss will show its logic. The blessing will not provoke jealousy. It will produce clarity. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not overlooked. This season confirms that everything unfolded with precision. And once you see it, you will stop questioning your path. The noise will quiet. The striving will end. This is confirmation. Let it speak. Money changes access, but this transfer will change perception, especially how you see yourself. Confidence will return, not as arrogance, but as stability. You will stand differently, decide differently, speak with certainty instead of hesitation. Vision will sharpen because pressure has lifted. Others will respond differently to you, not because you've changed your tone, but because authority recognizes alignment. You will notice increased respect, smoother interactions, quicker cooperation. Identity has weight when it's backed by provision. This transfer is unlocking who you already are. It is reinforcing truth, not creating it. You are stepping into congruence, inner identity matching outer reality, and that alignment changes everything. The last delay was the hardest because it felt unnecessary. By then, you were ready. You had learned. You had grown. You had proven consistency. And yet, there was still waiting. That final stretch tested not your faith, but your trust in timing. But heaven was not withholding, it was fine-tuning. Precision requires patience. God does not miss moments, and He does not release early. Every detour you question now has context. Every pause that frustrated you was aligning something you could not see. Timing was not late, it was exact. The upgrade season was not punishment, it was calibration. The last adjustments were subtle but essential. Small shifts create large stability. Completion requires closure. And now, preparation is finished. What was delayed is now due. This wealth is not the start of your story. It is proof that the story has been unfolding correctly all along. It is evidence of alignment, not initiation. The flow beginning now is sustained, not seasonal. You are not stepping into a moment. You are stepping into momentum. Doors will open beyond money. Access will expand. Conversations will change. Financial release will trigger movement in every other area of life. This is what evidence does. It confirms direction. You are no longer preparing. You are participating. Your security is no longer tied to fragile systems. Jobs, markets, and structures may fluctuate, but your provision is sourced higher. Heaven's economy bypasses limitation. Favor creates access where logic cannot. Resources are now seeking you. Opportunities are aligning without pursuit. Provision is flowing because alignment has been established. You are no longer dependent. You are positioned. This is divine override. Pressure increases before breakthrough. Doubts surface. Distractions multiply. Noise intensifies. This is not regression, it is confirmation. Resistance always peaks before release. The instruction is simple. Remain steady. Stay silent when necessary. Protect your peace. Do not explain what God is about to reveal. The landing requires stillness. The release is close. Very close. What is changing now is not just the size of what you carry, but the way you think about what you carry. Survival thinking is dissolving. You are no longer making decisions from urgency, fear, or short-term relief. A new instinct is forming inside you, the instinct to structure, to steward, to build with intention. This is one of the clearest signs that the transfer is real and near. When God prepares to release wealth, He first rewires desire. You begin to crave wisdom over impulse, sustainability over speed, blueprint over bailout. You may notice a sudden interest in learning, not out of insecurity, but out of responsibility. You want to understand systems, investments, protection, legacy structures. This is not greed. This is stewardship awakening. Bills no longer dominate your thoughts. Blueprints do. You are thinking in terms of flow, not fragments. Expansion, not escape. You are no longer asking, how do I survive this month? But how do I steward this season? This shift matters because wealth multiplies when it is respected. God does not release large sums to be consumed. He releases them to be multiplied. And multiplication requires discipline, clarity, and restraint. You are being trained to manage increase without anxiety, to hold money without letting it hold you, to move from reaction to intention. What's coming will not demand panic. It will invite planning. It will not pressure you to spend. It will empower you to build. This is how you know the season has changed. Survival has an expiration date, and yours is ending. You are entering stewardship, where money becomes a tool, not a threat, a multiplier, not a burden. And because you are prepared to steward, heaven is prepared to release. Chosen one, this is the moment your spirit has been bracing for, not waiting for bracing for. Because deep down, you already knew that when it arrived, nothing would remain the same. The transfer is no longer approaching. It is no longer pending. It is here. What you sensed before was proximity. What you are entering now is possession. You are crossing the threshold from preparation into reality, from believing into receiving, from alignment into manifestation. The season of stretching is ending, and the season of settling is beginning. Not settling for less, settling into place, settling into flow, settling into provision that no longer feels fragile. This changes how you breathe, how you plan, how you rest, how you see yourself. The internal tension that once accompanied faith is dissolving into stability. You are no longer hoping things will work out. You are watching them align. And the most powerful part is not the money itself, but what it confirms. You were never wrong. You were never behind. You were never forgotten. This is destiny funded in full. Not partially. Not temporarily. Fully. What God promised, He prepared. What He prepared, He protected. And what He protected, He has now released. The delay did not weaken the blessing, it refined it. The wait did not disqualify you. It matured you. So receive without fear. Steward without anxiety. Build without apology. You are not stepping into overflow by accident. You were trained for this moment. Marked for this release, aligned for this arrival. The transfer is here, and it changes everything.